Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Mental Health Strategy Day. It's a new one. Psychologists use EMDR with their patients. It can help affect a negative emotion. Before each EMDR treatment, your therapist will ask you to rate a level of distress. The hope is that the disturbing memories become less disabling. This helps for people that are in the Army or people that have had traumatic events. Panic attacks, it can help with eating disorders, addiction, anxiety such as discomfort with speaking in public. EMDR is separated into 8 phases. The three basics help identify each issue to address during therapy. Explain how the procedure worked. There are 3 grouped as EMDR simulations. They are active part of therapy. These phases connect with the emotions and trauma of troubling memories with your current state of mind and the ways of your body responding to therapy. Beriddle the simulations activities of both sides. The brain of the brain. Often therapists directing side of eye movement to deal with the traumatic memories and emotions different ways. Your therapist is reprocessing your mind, your brain. Phase 1 is information gathering, sharing the conversation about why you come to therapy and some information about your personal history. Your therapist will also come up with a treatment plan and phases. The number 2 of the phase is for the therapist to explain how EMDR works, manage hard to upsetting emotions that come up in your session. 3, assessment during phase. And your therapist will identify the traumatic events or circumstances what you are addressing to your therapy. This includes talking about details of events and emotions as well, about how you would like to think and feel about the future. Disorganization during phase 4 focuses on target memory. Your therapist leads you through eye movement. You also share new thoughts, feelings about your trauma. Phase 5, and the key part of theory is it's when it starts to attach positive feelings throughout your memory have previously tied to traumatic events or unpleasant emotions. Phase 6, body scan. As you think about your memory that targets of your therapy, pay close attention to any physical responses that go with therapy. You will have fewer and negative physical symptoms to you until you have none at all. Phase 7 is closure. This is how many sessions your therapy, you're paying close attention, response. You have the goal that goes on. Will you have a fewer things, negative symptoms, have none at all. Phase 7 closure. This is how many sessions you will end. Your EMDR therapist keeps state calm and security. Your therapist talks about target memories and proposed how about them now. Your therapist gives you the way to manage any emotional challenges that come up between sessions. Phase 8 is revolution. Through this phase 8 is most sessions begin on activity. Part therapy has started. It's time for you and your therapist to figure out how therapy is going and talking about any new memories, feelings, or thoughts coming out. The previous session, phase 8, is I also used make any changes to your treatment plan. If you gain EMDR treatment on traumatic events, you might. Disturbing is more complicated happen over a long period of time. You might need 12 sessions or even more. Psychologist Francine Shapiro came up with EMDR while walking through the woods one day. She happened to notice negative emotions lessened from eye deteriorated from the side to side. Then she found that the positive effect from inpatient since that many students in research suggest that EMDR can help diagnose PTSD, reduce symptoms of PTSD, other traumatic events. The EMDR National Associates reports that more than 110,000 therapists across the 130 countries have helped more than 7 million people with the EMDR. There's a therapy advantage. Include EMDR has proven effective in many studies. It requires less homework or such as journaling, practicing certain behaviors between sessions. It can produce positive results faster than some other mental health therapy. It's generally considered safe. There are some disadvantages, including finding therapists trained in EMDR is in some areas difficult. If PTSD is facing EMDR is different for psychologists. By accident, the study in 1989 have shown eye movement and desensitization and reprocessing can help replace emotions to tie to traumatic events, situations with most positive ones. If you have PTSD facing serious negative related, EMDR may help you, shown to be safe, effective. It's training U.S. Departments of Veterans military who have. It's like a vibrating controller, like a PlayStation or video game with little frisbees. And they sometimes have a board that they look up for eye movement. I'm going to give an example that helps me. Father Wilson, who abused me, a priest that I will not give the name out, when I use EMDR, I go back to what the situation of what he said to me that made me feel uncomfortable, and
Ever since that night, I just can't face going out.
I've always had a nagging sense of being a failure, of not being good enough.
My childhood was a mess. I was abused in so many ways.
I had a phobia of dogs. I avoided places where I might see them, which became a real problem.
I was so full of shame. I just felt dirty, and there was no way I could trust anyone, not even my friends.
I've tried different therapies since I was a teenager. Some made me feel a bit better at the time, but the depression kept coming back.
I would lose whole days disconnected from the world, or feeling like I was living in a fog.
If I saw a dog, I was terrified. I would literally shake, and that would make me annoyed, as I knew it was irrational.
Everyone told me I should deal with it and move on, but the thought of telling anyone and talking about it filled me with dread. EMDR therapy gave me hope that I can put that night behind me.
I had EMDR therapy. The first sessions helped me understand that the way I thought about myself was a result of past experiences.
EMDR therapy helped me to process some of the horrendous things from my past.
As we worked through old memories related to my phobia, it was like my fear button started to get switched off.
My therapist told me that it was a recommended treatment by the NHS and World Health Organization for trauma. Also, that I didn't have to go into all the details, which was a relief.
As we worked through different memories, it was like my head and gut finally started to see things the same.
We went very gently to begin because I was all over the place. But step by step, I started to feel a bit better.
When I went outside, suddenly I wasn't scanning around for danger. I'd kind of forgotten what that was like.
As I processed what happened to me that night, the images became less vivid. The shame dropped away, and I could see for the first time it really wasn't my fault.
That belief of I'm not good enough slowly started to crumble, and I realised I am okay. I'm as good as the next person.
With EMDR, I started to leave the past behind.
I began managing situations differently, and I felt the old me coming back.
I'm Lindsay. EMDR therapy allowed me to move on.
I'm Dave. My EMDR gave me hope.
I'm Suzanne. EMDR has given me back my life.
I'm Mike. EMDR therapy was my path to freedom.